Welcome back to the first Descendants. For this video, we're going to be going over things that I wish I knew before starting the game. This is going to help you guys out a lot. There's way too many words and way too many numbers being thrown about in the game, and it can look very complicated and quite scary. Let's have a look at some things that's going to make things a lot easier for you while you play. So without further ado, I hope this video does help you out, and let's get started with my list. At number 1, let's talk about your mastery rank. This can be right over here. Where exactly is your mastery rank? So if you come over to the Prime Hands in Albion and you activate it right here, you can increase your mastery rank when it's fully ready to be ranked up. Now you can see here, your mastery rank and your benefits will increase your capacity in your Descendant modules and your slots, your weapon modules and your slots and capacity on how much you can hold, and everything will be increased in that way. So your mastery rank will help your accounts on your character to hold more, to unlock more and get better gear. So you definitely want to have that mastery rank as a priority. Don't worry too much about your character rank. Your character rank is also important, but your mastery rank is just as important as well. You might be struggling to hold a lot of items, modules and weapons. Your mastery rank will help. At number 2, let's talk about weapons. And yes, you can upgrade and level up weapons. Come over to the workbench in Albion. You can go ahead and use the weapon level transmission. Over here, we can level up and upgrade weapons. So for example, I really like my Thunder Cage, but I want it to be a higher rank. Considering I'm now dropping level 38 weapons, but my Thunder Cage is only 34. How do I upgrade it? Well, click on the Thunder Cage. Now you can click on a weapon that you want to upgrade your Thunder Cage with. This one right here, my Viper is level 38. Now I can use a transmission phase exchanger to level up my weapon. Now you can see my firearm attack is going to go from 1500 to almost 2000, or 20,000 even. So how do we get these rare materials? Let me show you. If you talk to Ananias in Albion, right over here, go to the research requests, go to enhancement materials, you can create precision phase exchanger by using liquid metal. Let me show you how to get liquid metal. You probably have a lot of weapons that you've been collecting while playing the game. Dismantling weapons, for example, let's just dismantle this one. You're going to be getting liquid metal. Just from this one weapon, I already have 11, and you need 250 to craft that material to upgrade. Next up, let's talk about weapons and your loot drops. How do you know or what you want to be picked up? Now, what you can do is go over here to filter all as junk. Now, over here, you can set what weapons, what reactors and external components you want to pick up and what you want to dismantle. For example, in my weapons, I want to be able to dismantle rare tier and lower tier weapons. That's it. And anything below the level of, let's say, 35. That's it. Now we can apply that, and everything that I always want to dismantle is going to be below this setup. So you don't have to be scared that you're going to dismantle something high or something good. You can do this. Same thing with reactors and same thing with external components. At number 4, again, let's talk about your weapons. What is good and what is bad? What should you keep and what should you dismantle? For example, I have this Viper right here. Is it a good weapon? Now, yes, it's a level 38. Yes, it does 15,000 damage, but should I keep it? Well, right there you can see its toxic attack power, firearm critical hit damage, recoil, and rounds per magazine. Now, firearm and rounds per magazine are gold. Recoil on toxic attack is blue. That isn't really that good. You want to be focused more on the purple and the yellow ones. Purple and gold means higher damage and higher defense on items. The blue and lower isn't going to be that great. So for example, my Thunder Cage right now is almost all blue. That's not very good. I definitely want something better. So my best advice, make sure you do have a look at the weapons you're dismantling and have a look at the weapons you are using. Make sure that a lot of their attributes are the higher tiers and dismantle the lower tiers. Even if a weapon may be level 20 but it has better stats, make sure you keep it and upgrade it. Next up, let's talk about re-rolling your weapons. Yes, you can actually re-roll weapons. If you go over to the workbench once again and go over to weapon readjustments, here we can choose what weapon we want to re-roll. For example, my Thunder Cage is all blues and 1 purple. I don't like that. So what we can do is to click on the weapon you want to reroll. Now from here, you can specifically lock an attribute that you do not want to change, but it's going to cost more readjustment materials. For example, if I want to keep my rounds per magazine and I want to lock this and don't want to change it, it's going to cost more. For example, this one now costs 5 and now it costs 20. But I don't really like this, so I just want to re-roll it one time for something better. Now I can go ahead and click readjustments, and now we have re-rolled. This one has a bonus firearm attack versus Order of Truth by 178. Yeah, so this is okay, but again, let's go ahead and just readjust it one more time and see what we can get. And again, that's not very good. So you can do that, but how do we get this item? If you took to Anais one more time and go over to enhancement materials, you can find that material right there by using, once again, liquid metal. Next up, let's talk about reactor and external components. Right now, I'm using Bunny, and this may seem like a lot of information. So let's dumb it down for our character. Bunny is an electric descendant. So let's go ahead and just focus on our electric abilities. You can go ahead and select electric right there. And now we can select our electric reactors. So I'm using the Tingling Mixture Reactor. Of course, I'm using Bunny, so I want to focus heavily on electric power and skills because her skills is her main damage output. This one is going to give me a skill power boost ratio in electric skill power and fusion skill power. At the bottom right there, it's also going to give me non-attribute skill power boost ratios and additional skill attack when attacking Legion of Darkness. Those at the bottom can be re-rolled. Now, we want to heavily focus on electric power. If you're using something that does a lot of poison, that a character does poison, make sure you go over here and look at your toxic reactors. Make sure whatever you're using is going to be basically connecting with that character. Well, how do we know we're using a good reactor? Well, it's going to give you an increase in your skill power when it's being equipped. It's going to give you an arrow going up, which means obviously good. Now, optimization condition. For Bunny, her best weapon is this submachine gun Thunder Cage. So we want to heavily be focused on submachine gun in our reactor. Right now it's shotguns, which isn't really that great. So make sure you do have the correct weapon for that certain character for which ultimate weapon works best. If Yeba or Jaba or Kyle uses shotguns as their best weapons, make sure your reactor is set to shotguns. Now for external components, it's a little bit different, but more or less kind of the same idea. Now, levels doesn't really mean that much. For example, this one is level 34 and it's an ultimate. It raises my XP, my HP max by 131, which isn't really anything special. Now, if we have a look at this one, for example, it's a level 22, but it's going to give me a fire resistance of 639, and it's also going to give me a set effect critical hit rate by +18, skill power by +4, and skill cost by a -3%. So technically, this one is actually pretty good, even though it's lower leveled. So make sure you go ahead and check out your components, make sure that it's actually working with your character. For example, with Bunny, I want to have her skill power up and her skill cost down. So make sure my components are doing that for me. Same thing with basically all of them. Next, let's talk about modules for your weapons. Now, when you come over to the screen, it can be very complicated, but even though I'll have many videos out showing you the best modules for characters and weapons, you want to get started right now and you don't know what to pick. Right there, you can equip recommended modules for that certain weapon type. The Scout Rifle Hero Scar, equipped ones, and now this will do it for you. You can go ahead and confirm, and the game will put on the recommended modules that you can go ahead and use for that weapon. Obviously, we can make this better, but for now, to get started and you don't know what to do, this will help. Next, let's talk about proficiency level. What exactly is proficiency level? Now, for example, my sniper rifle right now and the sniper rifle weapon type is only at proficiency level 9, whereas my submachine gun is at level 26. The more you use a weapon type, the more the proficiency level will go up. But what does it actually do? So, my Thunder Cage is at level 26. If we go over to my modules, now certain modules cost more to equip. this one only costs 4 capacity to actually put it on, whereas this one, its capacity cost is 6. The higher the proficiency level, the higher capacity cost modules you can put on. So now I can put on this level 6 and this level 5. It wouldn't be a problem. But for example, as my sniper, I really can't do that many. It's gonna stop now. See, I can't put in another 6. I need to increase my proficiency by using this weapon type more often. So make sure you use different kinds of weapon types and have those upgraded, because who knows, maybe certain weapons are better down the line. Up next is, do not skip out on side quests. Okay, side quests are just important as your main quest. Main quests are purple, side quests are blue. Now in the blue ones, you're going to be getting some pretty good rewards. For example, characters, okay? Make sure you do these, because for example, this one, I haven't even done it yet, but it's going to give me Freyna. For everyone asking, how do I get Freyna? How do I get this character? How do I get this other character? Make sure you keep an eye out on your quests, okay? It's going to tell you where to find certain items for that character. For example, the Freyna Stabilizer. It's going to acquire the Freyna Stabilizer from the Ruins Path mission in Vespers. So yeah, your side quests are just as important as your main quests. The last tip that I want to give you all here is to do with crafting. Now, crafting a certain material, for example, this face changer, is going to take me 10 minutes. Now, for other things like a character, it's going to take you 16 hours. And weapons will take about 4 hours. Now, yes, you can decrease this to 0 by using caliber. But if you don't want to spend caliber, because it is quite expensive in these types of games, make sure you start crafting your descendants or your weapons as soon as possible, and make sure it's a priority, because you don't want to be waiting 16 hours while everyone else is using, for example, the restored relic, and you're waiting 16 hours and you don't want to spend money, because yeah, doing and crafting things beforehand is going to save you a lot of time and a lot of headache. You don't want to be watching everyone using a certain weapon while you're like sitting there waiting 16 hours for it to be crafted. So as soon as you are able to craft something, make sure you do it quickly, especially if you're not going to be using caliber. For me, as much as I don't want to admit it or hate doing this, sometimes I do get fed up about waiting 16 hours for a character when I'm like, damn it, I need it for a video. I want it because everyone else is using it. I will go ahead and spend money and use up to like 100 caliber just so I can decrease that timer. But otherwise, I'll just, as soon as I log in the game in the morning, I'll start crafting that character and just let it do its thing. So make sure you go ahead and do that. Anyway, that's it for me. I will make another video like this if you guys do enjoy this one, and if it does help, let me know down in the comments, and let me know down in the comments how you're enjoying the game so far. Hopefully these tips helped, and I'll see you all very soon.